Well, jurors have another day of deliberation ahead of them in the Antioch church shooting case. They failed to come to a verdict today after about more than an hour of discussing the evidence. News Channel 5's Jason Lamb is with us tonight. And Jason, before that, jurors heard phone calls between the suspect and his girlfriend, right?
That is right, and we also today heard the closing arguments in the case where Emmanuel Sampson's attorney said the reason that he opened fire at the church in 2017 was in part due to his mental illnesses. As jurors deliberate, they'll be considering this phone call they heard today from the Antioch church shooting suspect Emmanuel Sampson and his girlfriend. They were talking about how good she says he looked on TV after police arrested Sampson and news outlets across the country aired video of him.
Hey, you was looking fat. You was tall as you was taller than you, honestly. Hey, you was
Sampson's defense relies heavily on his mental state. Short of an insanity defense, Sampson's attorney says he has schizoaffective disorder and was manic, even blaming Pastor Joey Spann, a shooting victim, for provoking Sampson into shooting him.
But remember, Joey Spann threw something at Emmanuel Sampson. And remember, Emmanuel Sampson had a high startle reflex. His girlfriend described it. He has PTSD. He didn't want anyone sneaking up on him or jumping out at him. And so Pastor Spann throws something at him and then gets shot right here.
And Sampson's attorney told the jury he wasn't trying to one-up the Charleston church shooting. The reason? Because he didn't go back and shoot again the victims he had already shot to make sure they were dead.
If he had really been his goal that day to kill 10 people, one more than Dylan Roof had killed, wouldn't he have at least turned around and finished those people off?
Here we go. Well, again, those jurors will be back tomorrow, and the News Channel 5 network will keep you advised of what happens. Now, for some analysis of today's events, let's go to Nick and Nick.
Hello, everyone. Nick Barris here, along with legal analyst Nick Leonardo. Day 4 of the Antioch church shooting trial has concluded. The jury began deliberating. They went for an hour and 8 minutes. When then they decided to go home for the day. Remember, they're not sequestered. What do you take of that? They're going to come back first thing tomorrow morning to pick up where they left off. What's your take?
Well, I mean, the first task was to elect a foreperson,
Okay.
and you never know how long that really actually takes. But typically you would think that they would take a preliminary vote, and obviously there was no verdict as to any of the counts. And the judge even asked them when she brought them back into the courtroom, "Do you have a verdict on any of the counts?" And you heard the jurors' voices say, "No, no, no, no." So it kind of suggested that maybe they were far apart. But again, they haven't been at it very long. They're going to come back in at 9 o'clock in the morning and resume their duty.
The big charge is obviously the murder of Melanie Crow. All right, and we have the situation here where first-degree murder, but could they be considering something less? You heard Emmanuel Sampson's attorney ask for criminally negligent homicide. That's 1 to 4 years.
Well, before they can consider anything less, the jury charge or the jury instruction that the judge gave them requires them to start at the indicted charge, and if there's not a consensus, only then do they move to the lesser included offenses. But if there is a conviction for premeditated first-degree murder on count 4, this will proceed into a sentencing phase probably some point tomorrow.
I think a lot of people thought that this might be a quick verdict, and if we learn anything from this, it's impossible to predict what a jury's going to do.
It certainly is.
We will see tomorrow. They'll get back at it first thing in the morning, and we'll be here with our continuing coverage. We'll send it back to you in the studio.